What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 6, Episode 9. The episode was titled Ready to Pop Off, you guys. So before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on my channel, and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss Love and Marriage Huntsville, shall we? All right, you guys. So Love and Marriage Huntsville, does anybody know how many episodes are left in this season? And I hope and pray that they don't split it into two halves, because I can't do that. I want them to go ahead and wrap this up and film a reunion and bring the reunion on, so that way I can just be done with this. Because I had already, I tweeted this a few weeks ago that after this season I was done with Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I'm actually vocalizing it out loud that this is it, you guys. Like, I won't be reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville anymore. I'm done with it. So what I will be doing still is Love and Marriage DC and Love and Marriage Detroit. Those I will be doing. And for right now, what I'm thinking about with Love and Marriage Detroit is I want to do that video live. So there is a live that's already created. I created a live for June 25th, and the live is scheduled to go live at 11 a.m. Central Time. So be sure to check me out then for that. But as far as Love and Marriage Huntsville, you guys, like I said, this is just the end of the road for me with this show. I'm not dropping DC, and I'm not having watched Detroit yet. I know I had previously talked about dropping DC too, right? But DC is not nearly what Huntsville is, and I can handle that. So yeah, we'll just be dealing with those two going forward. But that's really not what we're here for. We're here to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville. So the opening of this episode, we are with Letitia and Marsa, right? So Letitia and Marsa, you guys know that they have been talking about Scott Manor for quite some time, right? Well, Scott Manor is not done yet. Shit, Scott Manor is in the same position. Actually, no, Scott Manor is not even in the same position, because at least with Chateau Charest, when they went there, something had been built on that house. Or was it just a plot of dirt? I can't remember if it was just a plot of dirt or what. But at least Charest's house came, I remember when Nene said it was Neverland. It would be Neverland until she saw something. So that's what Scott Manor is. Neverland. Neverland. If it happens, it happens. And so they're talking about it'll probably be done in 2024. Y'all do know that that is next year. So y'all still look like y'all have y'all even broke ground? Well, yeah, I think y'all broken ground, but what has been done? Like, do y'all, I don't mean to say it like this, but do y'all not have the money to do it? Because it's just, yes, it takes time to build a house. And I know that when they first originally started trying to build the house, we were coming out from the pandemic. So there were things that were, during the pandemic, there wasn't a lot of stuff. People weren't building houses. And if they were building houses, there's a net in here or something. So if people were building houses, things were delayed. And today still things are delayed, right? But I don't know what's going on with Letitia and Marcel, but they're moving into an apartment. Then they were talking about fixing up the house and moving back. I was like, huh? But then they got nothing to do with me. So Marcel decided that he wanted to tell Letitia about the conversation that they had, he and Martell had with Tiffany, about how Tiffany was asking all those ridiculous ass questions that had absolutely nothing to do with her. Like, Tiffany now wants to play the victim, but girl, you did this. I mean, despite how I feel about Sheree, you were hella rude to that woman. And you're lucky that it was Sheree and not somebody who ain't got no common sense and would have hauled off and smacked the shit out of you, pregnant and all. Like, I think Tiffany should thank her lucky stars. But the thing that kind of throws me with Marcel and Letitia is the fact that they're talking about, The fact that y'all are acting as if y'all don't know how Tiffany is. Tiffany came onto this show being messy. That is why a lot of people don't care for Tiffany because of how she came on the show. So I'm just like, okay, why are we so surprised that that's how Tiffany came? How Tiffany came at Sheree. That's how Tiffany has come at a lot of people. So we're shocked. I'm not. Now, when she was asking a woman if she thought her pussy was good enough for, oof, I mean, like, damn, you couldn't say her vagina, her vajayjay, her poom poom, her punani. You literally said her pussy. Okay. Then you ask her, how does it feel to date a cheater? Why does that bother you? Then you want to know if she met Mel. What they got to do with you? Like, Tiffany was just doing a whole fucking lot, and I just didn't think it was necessary. Was it funny? Not really. But it was kind of like karma with Sheree because we know Sheree carries the bone on Real Housewives of Atlanta. But yeah, it was just tacky. So let's pause here, you guys, and move forward. Speaking of Tiffany, you guys, so Tiffany went home to talk to Lewis, right? And she told him about the conversation that she had with Martell and Marceau. Now, I will say that you painted this conversation a whole lot differently than what it actually happened, because it wasn't nearly as bad as what you made it out to be, right? Now, I know I said last week what I was saying in the video was I didn't really necessarily like the optics that it was Marceau and Martell. I didn't have a problem with what they said to her. I didn't have a problem with anything. I was just like, the optics of this just don't look right. And the reason why I knew why I said the optics didn't look right, because I'm like, how is she gonna take this back to her husband, and how is he gonna perceive this when he sees it on the show? So I was like, that's why I said the optics didn't look great last week. But I didn't think that they said anything that was terrible to her. So, and the way she's painted it off is as if kind of like she was ambushed, but you really weren't ambushed. Martell was already meeting with Marceau, so he just decided, hey, let's kill two birds with one stone. I'm here with Marceau. You're coming down here to talk to me about Selma. Let me talk about this situation with Sheree. So this has basically activated Lewis, right? And then when they talk, she's talking about the fact that Marceau asked her what the fuck was wrong with her, and the fact that he called her a Karen is because I'm biracial. Girl, we say Karen to people who get in other people's business that ain't got nothing to do with them, and that's exactly what you did. You pulled a Karen with Martell and Sheree. Like, it wasn't your business. Why did you feel the need to ask these questions? What were these questions going to do for you in your life? How was that question going to help you with your pregnancy? It wasn't. So, yeah, like I said, Lewis is activated. So Lewis wants to go and have a conversation with Martell and Marceau. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, right? The thing that I have a problem with Lewis is, remember, like when he was talking about that conversation that he had with Maurice, how it could have went a different way, but he was drinking. I really want to see this person that Lewis perceives him, plays himself off to be. That's what I want to see, right? But I don't have a problem with him wanting to talk to Marceau and Martell, saying like, damn, if y'all had an issue with my wife, y'all should have came to me. I don't have a problem with that. Also, what they said was not disrespectful to Tiffany. I really truly don't have a problem with what Martell said to Tiffany, because you were so rude to come to my guest and ask her these questions. So I'ma press you when I see you. Like, he didn't raise his voice at her. He didn't talk over. He didn't stand up over her or none of that. Martell was actually respectful to her, much more respectful than Sheree should have just. But again, she's pregnant, and that's why I keep saying, Tiffany, you're lucky that these are people who have things to lose, right? And the fact that they just don't want to be ignorant and just slap a pregnant woman, because there are some people out there who would just say, fuck her being pregnant. I'm going to haul off and smack the shit out of this woman, right? So you're lucky about that. But that's it. Let's pause here and move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So next up, these are two very, very long scenes. Now, you guys know how I feel about Kimmy. You guys know that I love Kimmy. And I'm so happy that Kimmy is, beating cancer's ass, right? She's done with chemo, so now she's getting ready to go to radiation. She's talking to so it's her and Maurice in the car talking. Honestly, I could have done without this whole conversation about them having sex, because it was in this scene that they had talked about sex, and then it was in another scene with her and her friend where they continue to talk about the sex with Maurice, right? So in a nutshell, you can hear it. Kimmy's libido has gone down, right? But she still manages to have sex with Maurice. And he thinks that she's enjoying it. He thinks that she is, climaxing, but she's not. So he's like, "Oh, so you're faking it?" I'm like, "So you don't know?" And then he was like, "But you initiate sex." She was like, "How often do I initiate sex, Maurice?" He said, "About 50% of the time." She said, "No, babe, it's mostly you." He says, "But you scoot over and you put your leg on me." That means she wants to cuddle up with you, not that she wants you to bang her vagina out. I mean, you don't know the. Oh my God, Maurice is so oblivious. So your wife is in bed with you, and she just rolls over on top of you, maybe just puts her arm over you and just lays on you, and you think that means, "Oh, okay, babe, you put your leg on me, so that means you want me to come on and take you down to old Pound Town." No. Then when she was talking about they had, so I didn't take notes on this scene with them, because like I said, I could have done without it. But when they were talking, when she was talking to her friend about them having sex for 2 hours, I was like, "Say what now? Who is having sex for 2 hours? God, that is a long time to have sex." So I will say Kimmy's talking about the fact, he was talking about her eyebrows were going back, right? And she's talking about how she feels sexy. I know some women feel with hair that it makes them feel even sexier, right? That's why even when Megan Thee Stallion said, "Switch my wig, make him feel like he's cheating." Like, Kimmy is beautiful either way it goes. She's beautiful with or without hair. But I know that that's something that she has to come. That's something for her. We can say it, we can vocalize it out loud, but it's something internally that is something that affects her. And I'm not going to sit here and knock her. I'm gonna knock Carlos for making this scene long as it was. Again, I love Kimmy. I just don't understand why we needed a whole long ass scene about Kimmy and Maurice's sex life. I could have done without it. I honestly could have done without it. But I want you guys to let me know what you guys thought about that in the comments below, you guys. And let's pause here and wrap up the episode. All right, you guys. So we wrap up the episode with Lewis and Tiffany's baby shower for baby Ace, right? So everyone is there. We see Martell. He showed up. Now him and Marcel showed up late, but we see Letitia's there, Maurice is there, Stormy is there, Courtney is there, Nell Fletcher is there, and Melody showed up. And Kimmy, and I don't know if I said Kimmy, but Kimmy is there, right? So they were talking. This is before Mel even arrived. So Letitia had asked Nell Fletcher, like, how does Mel feel about Martell dating? So Nell Fletcher says, I think Nell said that, she's okay with him dating, but she doesn't want to meet anybody that he's dating. Tiffany, there goes your answer as far as if Sheree and Melody had met. They had not met, and Melody is not ready to meet anybody that Martell is dating. And I honestly don't blame her, right? Let me go off on a little bit of a tangent real quick. And this is part of the reason why I'm done with Love and Marriage Huntsville. So you guys remember, I think if it wasn't last week, it was the week before last, that I talked about, it was the week before last, when Melody had talked about the fact of the revenge, PORN, from Martell, right? And he just did an interview with, I think, somebody by the name of Queen Sheba, and he admitted it. And I was like, oh my God, that is so disgusting. So, for the love of God, well, you know what? I am reviewing season 7 of Love and Marriage Huntsville, so I'm not worried about if it comes out next season when they start filming, because I couldn't care less. But it's like, nobody's going to address this. Like, Carlos, you have so many opinions about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the Real Housewives of Potomac, but you never talk about the things that are going on within your shows. And I think that's a detriment to you. Like, there'll be things that are going on your shows that you don't want to address. Now, granted, I don't watch his podcast and I don't listen to his podcast. Nothing personal against him. I just don't listen to it or watch it. But yeah, so we're not going to address, I just want to know when you're going to address the situation between Melody and Martell. Don't wait until the reunion, but I'm pretty sure it's probably when it's going to happen. But that's neither here nor there, right? So, what were we talking about? I completely forgot. We're at the baby shower. They were talking about, sure, if how Mel feels. Also, Mel eventually came over, right? And I don't know. Nell Fletcher brought it up, and Tisha was like, she asked Mel, well, we were just talking, and we want, I do respect the fact that Tisha asked her, would it make her uncomfortable, them having a conversation. Now, Letitia, I got to come at you a little, come at you, right? It's one thing, I'm okay with you asking her if she feels uncomfortable, but even if the woman says she doesn't care what y'all talk about, I would think that we would say, okay, you know what? She says that she don't have an issue with it, but let's just be respectful of Melody and not discuss Martell around her. But no, y'all want to go ahead and continue to talk about Martell in front of Melody, and I was just like, what the fuck? Now, Melody, I have a little bone to pick with you as well. So when Letitia asked you about it, because your face clearly said that she's uncomfortable, and that's the other thing that I was like, Letitia, you can't read her face, you can't read the room and see that that woman is visibly uncomfortable. But so I can say that about Letitia, but I can also talk about Mel, and I'd be like, Mel, why do you just straight up say, you know what, I would prefer, it's okay if y'all talk about him, because I don't have feelings that way, but I would greatly prefer if we don't have a conversation about my ex-husband and who he's dating. Like I don't want to sit here and discuss that. Even if it did make you uncomfortable, which it clearly did make you uncomfortable because you got up from the table and you pieced out. Now, Nell Fletcher, I have an issue with Nell when she was talking about Tiffany asking Sheree if she think her pussy is good enough. I was like, so nobody is going to think about this. Again, she may have said that she doesn't feel uncomfortable, but her face is reading uncomfortable. I was like, what the hell? So eventually Martell and Marceau showed up, and Melody was like, you know what? That's my point where I got to peace out, right? So after that, we see Marceau and Martell. They had a conversation with Lewis. And I'm defending both Martell and Marceau, something I never thought I would do. Like I said, now I'm going to go back to what I said last week, right? Last week I did say the optics just didn't look right, and I'm still going to stand on what I said. It was the optics, not what they said. It was just the optics. So I don't think they said anything negative to Tiffany. Now, Lewis if you notice when Lewis was talking to Marceau and Martell, he didn't have an issue. He had an issue with them talking to her, but his big issue was the fact that Marceau asked her what the fuck was wrong with her and the whole situation about her being a Karen. What is a Karen? I'm like, okay, Lewis, are we going to play willfully obtuse? Because you know damn well what a Karen is. And being a Karen ain't got nothing to do with her being biracial. And here we go again when somebody talking about they're biracial, right? I don't take away from anything from anybody who's biracial. But Tiffany, if you had never told us you were biracial, I would have thought you were 100% a black woman. I would have just thought you were a light-skinned black woman, not a biracial woman, because you are not white passing. So that's that. But eventually things got a little heated between Maurice. Actually, Maurice did come out, but it got heated between Marceau, Martell, and Lewis, and then Maurice came out. And I don't know how they came to an end of that conversation, because at a certain point I just kind of tuned out and stopped listening to them. But they ended that conversation and then they went back inside. And inside, I don't know if Tiffany was having a panic attack or what, but Tiffany wasn't feeling well. I think she said she saw stars. But we all know that her baby is here. He's healthy. Now, do I follow anybody from Love and Marriage Huntsville on social media? I think I do. I think I follow Mel. And I think I follow Mel. I don't know who the hell I follow on this show. It ain't that many of them. But yeah, you guys, that was the episode. It wasn't a whole lot. Now, I want to say, when it comes to this season of Love and Marriage Huntsville, it hasn't been what we've been used to over the last few seasons. It hasn't been drama, and I can handle that. But at the same time, I don't feel like too many of these people have storylines that are advancing, and I think that's where the problem lies. You know, Carlos talks about Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I think you need to tend to. I just kind of want him to also tend to his. It's okay to point out what you see on Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Real Housewives of Potomac. It's fine, but at the same time, you need to tend to your garden. So you can make the suggestions for Real Housewives of Atlanta and Potomac, but you also got to be like, you know what, my show ain't perfect, so let me work with my cast and let me see what we can do to better our show. So it's a catch-22. You can say what you want to say, but also make it make sense when it comes to your own projects. But that is all I got, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, please stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.